Russia has many ways to exert its influence over Europe, but its most powerful weapon may be something that it can cut off: gas. Germany relies on Russia for nearly all of its natural gases, and if the two countries fall out, Germany could find itself with no place to turn. Of course, Germany is far from the only country that depends on Russia for part or all of its natural gas, which means that Putin's biggest threats are not nuclear warheads and hackers, it is the power of the Kremlin to shut down the flow of natural gas to Germany and many other countries in Europe. In today's video, we'll dive into the nitty-gritty of the delicate relationship between these two juggernauts, Russia and Germany, and why gas seems to be Putin's most dangerous weapon against the West. Before we dive into today's video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Also, tap on the bell icon to turn on notifications for this channel. This way, you'll be notified when we next upload a video. Without further ado, let's dive in. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but Russia is actually the world's biggest exporter of natural gas. And that means that not only does Russia have a lot of control over what happens in the natural gas markets, but it also has a lot of control over other countries' energy supplies, which makes them a pretty big player in geopolitics. Let me explain this with an example. Let's say some country, let's say Germany, is importing all its gas from Russia. And let's also say that Russia decides it doesn't like Germany anymore and stops sending them any more gas. What happens? Well, Germany is going to have to find another source of natural gas quickly, or else they'll run out and have no way to keep their factories running or heat their homes or whatever else they use natural gas for. That means that if Russia cuts off the supply, then they can basically blackmail other countries into doing what they want by threatening to cut off their supply too. The Russian president has used natural gas as a weapon to punish Europe, Germany, Ukraine, and NATO. Russia's use of natural gas exports as a political weapon is nothing new. In 2006, Putin turned off the spigot on Ukraine after it refused an agreement that would have made Gazprom the sole supplier of fuel for Ukraine's domestic market. The resulting gas shortage left many Ukrainians without heat in winter and contributed to political unrest that eventually led to the Orange Revolution. In recent months, Putin has used the specter of cutting off gas deliveries to some of Europe's largest markets as a way to punish them for implementing economic sanctions imposed on Moscow over its actions in Ukraine. On April the 11th, 2019, Petro Poroshenko, Ukraine's president, said that Russia had cut off gas deliveries to his country for 3 days. In a statement released on Twitter, Poroshenko said the Russian Federation has violated the contract for supplies via pipeline and has refused to resume gas transit through the territory of Ukraine. Russia has also been using the specter of cutting off gas deliveries as a way to punish some European countries between 2018 and 2021 by implementing economic sanctions imposed on Moscow over its actions in Ukraine. In recent months, since the start of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Putin has used this weapon as a way not only to thwart the sanctions imposed by the collective West, but force Europe into submission, or at least bend their policies toward Russia's interests. Russia supplies more than half of Europe's gas needs. Even more alarming, though, is the fact that more than a third of that energy flows through Ukraine, without which Europe would be in trouble. This means that Russia's ability to use its pipelines as a weapon against Ukraine, and by extension other European countries, have made tensions there all the more serious. Europe gets more than 30% of its natural gas through Russia, and more than half of that flows through pipelines that cross the territory of Ukraine. The pipelines that cross Ukraine are the main source of gas for Europe. In turn, they are also a crucial lifeline for Germany. Even Bloomberg once reported that Germany received 27% of its gas imports from Russia in 2017, a percentage that has increased in recent years as Nord Stream 2 was completed, according to BP plc's annual statistical review. However, without access to Russian gas via Ukraine's pipelines, Europe will have no choice but to find alternative sources. The most obvious option is liquefied natural gas, LNG. Is there an alternative to Russian gas for Europe and Germany? Yes and no. Here's why. Yes, because the natural gas supply to Europe and Germany is diversified. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which to date is yet to be fully completed, will only bring additional volume to the European markets. The expansion of the European gas transportation system, which started in 2018 and was meant to be completed in 2021, would have ensured an uninterrupted transit of gas through Ukraine until 2014. No, because in 2022, on February the 24th, Russia launched a full-scale assault on Ukraine, an affair the Kremlin has tagged a special military operation, whose purpose is to denazify the Ukrainians and liberate the Donbass. Through this war, Russia has targeted and destroyed Ukrainian infrastructures and logistics, and as a result, ruined the plans of a pipeline diversification for Ukraine and the rest of Europe in the short term. This leaves Germany and other several European countries at the mercy of the President Vladimir Putin, who has used this as a weapon to fire back at the numerous sanctions imposed against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. To sum it up, Russia can supply approximately 30% of the European Union's demand for natural gas. Europe has alternative sources that can replace Russian deliveries if needed. Germany, however, imports more than 90% of its natural gas from Russia, and a quick replacement plan should Russia halt its supply is not feasible in the short term. Germany alone accounts for 50% of total Russian exports abroad, imports and re-exports. Russia's weaponization of gas is a source of concern for European leaders, says James Williams, president of WTRG Economics, an energy research firm based in London, Arkansas. For them, the message is very clear. If you don't do what we want you to do, we'll cut you off. Russia is a major supplier of natural gas to Europe. Russia supplies more than 30% of Europe's natural gas, and more than half of Europe's natural gas that flows through Ukraine. With such strong leverage over Europe's energy security and economy, Putin has been able to use this control as a weapon against Ukraine and other countries that are not allied with Russia or his government's interests. As long as the situation remains unresolved, the threat of a Russian gas cutoff will still loom over Europe. That's bad news for both the European economy and for investors and companies that operate in the region, especially if Russia does decide to commit any more of its acts of aggression against its neighbors. If it does, Europe could be in big trouble. Do you think Germany will ever be free from the hooks of Russian gas? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon for more videos like this. We'll see you in our next video.